Hey. I'm officially putting my vote in, by the way, my recommendation in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to lose any more weight. You become a little person.
I want to lose more weight.
You already were height challenged. Now you're like just this
I'm not height
little
challenged.
wafy thing.
It's not true.
Very
I
attractive.
weigh like
Uh-oh.
a lot more than I did when I met you. So you
that's
bought
hard
a
to
skinnier person than this.
I'm not, the
skinnier
person I bought didn't have this killer bought. I don't want to get
I
into
had my
it.
wedding ring resized when I was pregnant with about 8 months pregnant because I figured then it would like always fit, and I had it resized so I could take it on and off when I was 8 months pregnant with our third child.
Yeah.
And I cannot take it off.
Your body has changed, Alice.
And it's broken, so
body has
I
changed.
can't get it fixed until I lose more weight. So
You're a sick man, my friend. That's fine. Who has late stage bulimia or whatever you have?
I don't have an eating disorder. I'm just being healthy. I'm
Okay.
not even at like, I'm still in the too high % body fat on the
time,
scale.
Alice, it's
It's
time.
not true. I'm not, you're just, it's in your imagination that I'm too skinny.
It's time to
I'm
let
not even
yourself
like
go.
a healthy
It's
weight
time
yet.
to let yourself go, Alice.
I just want to be healthy.
Do you believe that if you went up to like 3 bills, you would be my co-host on this podcast?
No.
Alice, do you believe that we'd be married?
No.
Correct. All right. So along those lines, first of all, before we get to Beanies Weenies, I wanted to thank the woman who cleaved me at the Newburyport Market Basket.
Do people know what that means?
Probably not. Cleaved is to be given affectionate look toward, as in check me out. No, well, no. She had checked me out and appreciated me, and she did it 3 times. Actually, the 3rd time, I verified because I'm a creep, and I went back across her radar just to make sure. You need 3 to make sure it's a verified cleaving, and it was.
Oh, wow.
And she was a lovely-looking woman, probably a little younger than me, and very put together. So that's twice in that Market Basket, by the way, in 5, maybe 6 years. And what it has to do with, it's not because I'm good-looking, but it's about women who I check boxes. I'm tall, I'm fat, I have a beard.
You have a cart full of rotten meat and broken
yep.
cereal boxes.
And I'm old. And if those things intrigue you as a woman, and I also don't have a wedding ring on because it was lost a long time ago. If those things intrigue you, then my chances are very good. The only problem is there are very few people who
that's not a lot of people's like list of criteria.
Right, it's not. And also, like, I was wearing a very drab, stained T-shirt, which could tell them that like, money was not an issue. So that's great. And if you see me out and you find me attractive, please let me know. That would be 2 things right there. 2 things. I mean, to me, it's a huge thing to be recognized whatsoever, like Steve and Scott did a couple of weeks ago. But if Steve and Scott were Liz and Stacy, that's better. I mean, let's be honest, guys.
Sorry,
right?
Steve.
And if they were like, well, Steve was a good-looking guy. Scott was, I believe, the Minifan, I believe he was probably dabbled in some drogas, but okay. Which brings me to a story that we're going to talk about. We don't have to talk about it right now, but Newsweek has this story, how hot girls became the right's new obsession. I do like the lead in this. This is in Newsweek by Marnie Rose McFall. It all began with Sidney Sweeney's cleavage. That's a great line. March 27th, she hosted Saturday Night Live. She wanted the cast members to all talk about her breasts. Sweeney and other conservative hot girls don't necessarily have tangible involvement with politics, although they're calling Sidney Sweeney a conservative girl. So what it is now is...
Yeah, they're not calling them conservative necessarily, but it's this idea that conservatives are embracing hot women because they like it and they think it's anti-woke. Which is like a weird and roundabout way for the left to sort of claim that they're the party of ugly freaks.
It is. It is.
Like, oh, they keep embracing attractive, happy people. Like, okay, guys, if you want to be that party, like blue-haired, obese, angry people, like that's our brand. Okay, go for it. Like, nice job. Because there's plenty of attractive left-wing people. They could be the party of like AOC. And Kamala Harris, by the way, is not unattractive.
No,
I don't think.
No,
like
no, I
don't think that like left-wing people are necessarily uglier. And we're not even talking about the phenomenon of like these particular people being right-wing, but it's kind of the same reason, honestly, like people on the right were embracing Taylor Swift back in like 2016 when she was trying to stay out of politics and not say anything, and the right was kind of embracing her, and that's part of why she spoke out, is because she got criticism for like letting the right like her. And it's funny because it's the left has decided that like being successful and attractive is right-wing coded, and like the left has decided to embrace that.
Well, yeah,
and like the party of petty jealousy and ugly sad losers, like that's what they've decided their brand is.
You're totally right. It's emitting miserable vibes is what they want you to know. Like Billie Eilish, I'm obviously having a problem inside. A lot of these now.
What is this phenomenon where people on the right like attractive people? Like everyone likes attractive people?
Well, yeah. No, it's such an interesting thing that the people on the right, of course, like attractive people, but people on the right generally also allow themselves to not over-intellectualize the phenomenon in front of them.
Yeah, they just like this person.
That's it. It used to be at Fenway Park. It was almost all guys, or 90% guys. When I went in the early 80s, when my dad had season tickets. And 20 years later, there were hot co-eds in pink cowboy hats with Cleavage and Daisy Dukes and boots.
Right.
And they instantly, and that was good. And I didn't overthink it. I get the feeling that she's not actually a real baseball fan. She's not even scoring the game. As a guy, a normal or somewhat normal guy, the only information that you get when the hot co-ed in the pink cowboy hat with the Cleavage is at Fenway Park, all you're getting is the messaging that there's a feminine beauty around. And that's good.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be any more deep. And they've got the Hawk Tour girl as that, which is very kind of like drunken sorority thing. And that's also good.
And then they talk about Anna Paulina Luna, and then they inexplicably a little further down in the article claim that all conservative hot girls are white. Which is not...
That is not true.
I mean, like, it's definitely not true.
No, and I would say that you can go use the girl from Mean Girls, actually. No, the girl from with Alicia Silverstone there. You've a nice
Clueless.
Clueless. Would be considered a beauty. The former ESPN girl who got pushed around, Michelle Tafoya. These are black and white and Hispanic.
I mean, I would say that Candace Owens is pretty beautiful.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, like, I disagree with a lot of her stuff, but I think she's very pretty, and that's part of why she's famous.
And by the way, overall, like lust has no ideology. It's right. It doesn't matter if you're a guy, if you're a straight guy. You're just seeing these beautiful women and appreciating them as it were. Actually, a guy I just talked to on the Menor show a couple nights ago, who's a good 15 years younger than me, said, like, when we mentioned Sidney Sweeney.
Right. And we've talked about Sidney Sweeney on
and I've actually
show.
said that I think she's beautiful and has incredibly beautiful breasts. And he said, but you're reducing her to those things completely. It's like, I'm not reducing anything. That's all I got on her. And
you're appreciative of her attractiveness.
That's all I've got on her, and I am green-lighting her to walk into my Studio 54. She gets in. It's all I need. And, like, there's no... It's because, like, heterosexual, man-woman, simple culture is been so sidelined and diminished by the intelligentsia, by academia.
Or as Catherine Rottenberg of Goldsmiths University London told Newsweek, there is something titillating about seeing a beautiful young woman.
I don't.
I mean,
I don't see
thank
it.
goodness we called in the experts for this. She continues, some people are considered conventionally beautiful, but when you have a pattern where hot girls are the faces of the movement, and when they are using tropes such as bikini shots as a way of sending a particular kind of message, that feels extremely regressive, Rottenberg added. She said, I'm all for having lots of smart, articulate, and good-looking women as spokespeople for movements, but we need a wide range of faces, ages, and body shapes.
No, we don't. No, we don't. Because
conservative hot girls have one thing in common, according to Erin Cassis of the University of Delaware. These aren't just hot women, they're white women. It's a narrow and conventional definition of sex appeal.
There you go.
It runs counter to the cultural change, reflecting an expansion of beauty standards to be more inclusive in terms of body size, race, and ethnicity. Beauty and transness and all the other things. Right.
Like beauty standards is assembled by committee. We've decided somewhere.
Yes, the beauty standards have moved on. Stop finding these conventionally attractive people attractive. We've included fat people and pregnant people and wheelchair people and old people and obese people. We've put them all on the cover of Sports Illustrated and trans people. So now you have to find that just as attractive.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because there is nothing wrong with guys at the baseball game kissing the pink hat's ass and buying her beers, etc. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong because she's beautiful and looks sexy. There's nothing wrong with that at all. That's her showing agency. That's her using the dumb hornballness of men, to her advantage. Being treated especially like.
Yeah, and I mean, like, has anybody observed that there are a lot of attractive people, like, on TV and in media and in movies and everywhere else?
Right.
Sidney Sweeney didn't get where she is by not being hot.
And
there are some people who, through a lot of talent, are not attractive and get very far in the entertainment industry, but that is the exception, not the rule.
Well, right, and I think part of the thing with Sidney Sweeney on SNL is SNL is now more has a conscience, a social conscience, mm-hmm. right? So they want to be messaging in play. Now that Trump is back, especially, they want to be messaging. Two, the fact is mm-hmm. that Sidney Sweeney's breasts are more of a powerful, emotive punchline than most of the skits in SNL have.
Of course. She's
a bigger spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel like she looks like a young Hillary Clinton. But I appreciate the spectacle of the thing. Like, why? It's funny. It just goes to show that women at the end really have no allies. And, Sidney Sweeney, to keep herself looking like that and everything, I bet you she busts her ass.
Of course.
And there's competition out there.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't get celebrated for it. You can't get celebrated for it.
It's hard. I mean, obviously genetics comes into play, but it's hard work to look like Sidney Sweeney.
A lot of it's a lie. We know how this works.
Like, there's a reason why everyone doesn't look like that.
Well, right.
Some is luck, but some is hard work.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of hard work, how right was I about Chappell Rowan? That she's now taking time off from a bunch of appearances that she's doing, so people now have tickets to stuff that she's not doing because she's going to go take care of her mental health.
Somebody, by the way, who purposefully presents herself as miserable.
Right. She puts that out there to the world to on purpose seem miserable and ungrateful for everything.
Right. Yeah.
Well, fame is so abusive. Like, okay. I mean... Sorry, this is happening to you. I don't know.
Anyway,
so I think the left should continue to embrace ugliness and being miserable as their party's calling card. I think that's good. And embracing terrorists. I think that's good for them too. I think that's the perfect brand and they should go with that. That's great for them.
And you know what else is interesting? Who's this lady who married the alligator wrestler?
Oh, Lana Del Rey. She's a big Taylor Swift friend. She's a huge singer-songwriter, and she's gorgeous, obviously. And I mean, she was on stage with Taylor Swift at the
I like how
Grammys
some of
and
the
stuff.
same people who are
Taylor
saying
Swift
you
has
can't.
called
You
her-
also need to have Victoria's Secret girls who are 410 pounds. You also have to need trans ones who, because for the sake of equity. But this Lana Del Rey hooks up with some white trash alligator hunt. No, you can't stoop down to him.
Oh yeah, so it's this guy from Louisiana who's like he does like alligator swamp tours. She met him a few years ago, I guess. And I don't know. I think nobody really knows what the story is, but there's pictures of her with him, like meeting him a few years ago. He's like this Louisiana swamp man, and like they were dating, and now had like a secret wedding. And I don't know. His ex was complaining to the media because he was engaged to her for 12 years,
Right.
and then he married Lana Del Rey after a month because she's Lana Del Rey, obviously, because she's gorgeous and super talented and like rich and famous and whatever. And that's all fine and great, but you know, like they had some kind of connection, and now she's married to the alligator swamp man, which
Right.
I like for her.
Fine, it's fine. Well, he's probably imagine who she hangs out with as a professional pop star.
Yeah.
He's the most manly organism she's ever probably seen. I
Right.
assume. Swamps, wrestling alligators. Absolutely. I don't even know anybody who they are. But that's fine.
How typical is that, by the way? The like guy is with a woman and doesn't marry her for like years and years and years, and she waits and waits and waits, and then like the next girl he meets, they're married and like have babies within like 15 months.
Well, yeah, but it totally makes sense, right? I could see it, you know.
People use the phrase "if he wanted to, he would," and that's like so true.
I think after
Don't stay with the guy for more than a year
that you can.
if he's not doing it. That's my opinion, but
I think a lot of relationships after a couple of years can be like, oh, we're gonna wait. Let's wait. Hold on, and then after a while, you're just too deeply invested. It's just convenient.
yeah, sunk costs.
Sunk cost, right? It's just easier to be together.
Engaged for 12 years and
That's
not
a tough
getting married.
That's a tough one.
He doesn't really like you. Just, I mean, like, that's it. Because if he did, then he would. Right?
Well, right. Yes, that's exactly right. Because, you know, the moment you get engaged, you've made a commitment publicly to the world that there is a lifelong ceremony coming.
Mm-hmm.
And it's forever. And you have made your decision that this is over. This is the person in the world for me. This is the person in the world for me. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's absolutely ridiculous. Before we get to Beanies Weenies, I do want to just note that this North Carolina stuff is
Oh, my gosh.
freaking-
This is Katrina level.
yes.
It's all over Tennessee, Western North Carolina. Like, and it's not really in the news, in part, I think, because I think with Katrina, the news people all had warning that this was going to happen, and where it was going to happen, and they were
certainly
there. And like with this, which the stories and images coming out of there are horrifying. Did you see the picture of the older couple on the roof?
No.
So this woman, I don't know. So, but anyway, it's a picture of an older couple on a roof. They were up there with their adult daughter and her child, and you know, the water rose up. They were on the roof of their house, and there's the adult daughter took a picture of her parents sitting on this roof together. Shortly afterwards, the roof collapsed, and
No.
her parents and her child all drowned.
Jesus.
And she is, you know, left alive in this. And like, I mean, she still has no way to communicate with people, really. She had sent this photo of the parents to her sister while they were out there. But yeah, I mean, like the stories, there's already a lot of confirmed deaths. There's images
1,000
coming
people
out
missing.
of like devastation, massive devastation, like whole towns. Just like, it makes the flooding in Vermont, which was devastating
Right.
to a lot of communities, look like nothing. It's so bad. It's really, and you know, and Kamala and Joe are like MIA, which is, it's interesting because you don't want to like make something like this political, obviously, but these sort of big disastrous events can be very defining for politicians who are in power at the time.
Oh,
So
no.
Ron DeSantis has already sent up a bunch of Florida National Guard.
Mm-hmm.
There's, there's a lot of rescue efforts underway, but why is Ron DeSantis sending the Florida National Guard? I mean, like, he's obviously an expert at disaster preparedness and is reaching out to these other states to try and help. But, like, the fact that this isn't on every news station and the president and Kamala are not out here and doing stuff, and, like, you look at the difference between the way, Katrina was defining for George W. Bush and how Sandy was defining for Obama at a really critical moment in his 2012 reelection efforts, to the consternation of a lot of conservatives. And a lot of that is the media coverage of the events, right? So it's not, did George W. Bush deserve everything he got about Katrina? I think that that's complicated, but the fact that they're not out there, like, they could make this a Sandy moment if they were competent and good at this and knew what they were doing and compassionate towards the people in these places that do not vote for them, which is a lot of people's sort of, I hate to call it a conspiracy theory, but, like, the longer it goes on without them making it, the national story that it ought to be, because a lot of people were saying they saw more about this, like, on TV during the college football games than they were seeing on the news.
That is so
and
interesting.
Like, because that impacts those groups of people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I think the story's out of here because the national media sort of isn't there yet still now. And I think the stories coming out of here are only going to get more and more horrifying. Like, similar to Katrina, just like what the horror in the news just went on and on, with
like,
this stuff.
The Asheville stuff. Asheville is, like, gone. It's a big rushing river.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And I mean, I don't know. It doesn't feel like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have, like, it doesn't seem like they're doing anything to show they care about it at this particular moment in time. So, I mean, like I say, these are, like, the big defining moments of presidency, is these kinds of things and how you handle them as a leader.
Well, and also, if Joe Biden has restrictions because of his health, this shows just how dastardly this cover-up was.
Mm-hmm.
That this guy can't react in a timely manner. This guy's not getting information. Maybe he is. Maybe he's on the phone with governors and local
doing all
officials.
sorts of stuff behind the scenes. Like, I mean, it could be. But the truth is that there are not people here to rescue a lot of these people yet.
Right.
That's why, like, Ron DeSantis is sending in the National Guard and they're,
Yeah.
like, rescue people and stuff, because a lot of these people are still trapped in terrible circumstances. And it's
Yeah.
sort of more spread
Without
out.
any way to communicate.
Right. And it's sort of more spread out than Katrina, because that was more, like, in a city. So it's, I mean, like, I think it's horrifying. And
Kamala
think it's
yesterday
terrible.
was in San Francisco for a big fundraiser. Dude, have the fundraiser
you're
in
the
absentia, and people will see the reason.
and show up at where people need you. Like, I don't know. But yeah, these are areas that definitely vote for Trump. This is, like 60-70% Trump territory. And the left has a hatred and a disdain for rural people that are not like them, that they have trouble concealing. This lady, the editor of Mother Jones, did her thing this weekend too, where she was flying on an Air Alaska flight, and apparently the well, I'll just find her tweet and read it to you, but she was flying on an Air Alaska flight, and they landed in San Francisco or wherever. Is that where she landed? SFO? Is that what that airport is?
Yes, hold on one second. Cover-up was.
Mm-hmm.
That this guy can't.
What? Oh, did you lose audio?
Yeah. Okay, the woman from Mother Jones, she was on a flight, and somebody said, "Have a blessed day," the flight attendant.
Yeah, so she immediately ran to Twitter and ratted out, called up Alaska Airlines on Twitter, @Alaska Air. Your employee said to have a blessed day to me. Can you believe it? This ain't Montgomery. A city, by the way, that's 60% black.
Right.
So, like, and a lot of black people say, God bless you, or have a blessed day and stuff like that. I mean, like, there are a lot of Christians out there. There's a lot of other people who aren't Christian who say to have a blessed
Yes.
day, or I'm so blessed, or, blessed, God bless you, or whatever, too, right? Like, this is not an uncommon thing. It's certainly not a negative thing. But the fact that she's culturally so miserable that she's ratting out service level employees, like, flight attendants do not make a huge amount of money. Am I wrong in thinking that? I mean, they make good money, but they're not like, these are like service level employees, essentially, right? Like, she probably makes more than them, we're assuming.
Right.
And, like, anybody who, like, is tweeting at people's employers to get them in trouble, and over something like that?
Over something which, by the way, and I'm glad you brought that up because that brings us to Rich Lowry, kind of. Over something, Alice, that was a term of endearment.
Right.
Oh, it's amazing. Amazing. My mother was a flight attendant, and she used to tell us the story of when they used to say goodbye to people.
Mm-hmm.
People, she said, goodbye, have a good day, like, have a good day, have a good day, thank you, have a good day, thanks for flying with us, thank you. And she and her girlfriend, who were a flight attendant, they noticed that that people were never listening to them.
Yeah.
They just walk right by. So she claims they started to say, go to hell, quickly. Go to hell, go to hell, go to hell. Who knows? We'll never know if it's apocryphal, but my mother claims that she and her girlfriend did that in the late 60s or early 70s. So if you're one of those flyers and you heard a stew say, go to hell, that could have been my mother.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, the weird, and she said in her tweet that it was a sign of creeping Christian nationalism.
Oh, what a small brain. Talk about it. Absolute, by the way, foundation level Karening too.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Sorry, what did you mean by that?
Yeah, excuse me. I'm going to need to talk to your employer about this. You told me to have a blessed day.
Not all of us, I don't know what she is, but as a class that was persecuted by Christians, I don't feel comfortable with you doing that.
Insanity. And you mentioned Rich Lowry. We had talked about that thing where people pretended that he said the N-word on the Megyn Kelly show, as conservatives do when they think nobody's listening. They're just throwing that around all the time. He was supposed to go to this, like, sort of free market group, the Badger Institute in Wisconsin thing, to give a speech, Rich Lowry. Mm-hmm. And they uninvited him because of, they said in their statement, because of concern about an interview Rich Lowry, our previously scheduled speaker, took part in on the Megyn Kelly show. We looked closely at the facts and believe we came to the right decision.
What a bunch of pussies. And obviously, these are people who never wanted Lowry to be going there. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
They go, we tried hard to do what's right and believe that we have done that. Now can we please get back to talking about government waste and overspending and tax levels and lousy schools, energy needs, housing, federalism?
Bunch of idiots.
This is why no one takes you seriously. It's like, no, can we get back to talking about the tax rates, guys? Like, you're buying into this left-wing concern trolling about Rich Lowry being this huge racist, which is obviously untrue, as anyone knows who knows anything about Rich Lowry.
Yes.
Knows he's not throwing around the N-word.
Right. And he's gotten in on this. He's talked about this in the editor's podcast.
Right.
He's not apologizing. They all...
It's ridiculous.
Right.
It's ridiculous that a bunch of people on Twitter decided to pretend that Rich Lowry used the N-word. So, and like these so-called right-wing think tanks are like, oh, wow, no, we agree. It was totally wrong for him to use the N-word. Like, why are you buying into this stuff and giving them this power? It's so pathetic.
It's also a lesson to conservatives who believe that if they push back against the MAGA movement, it'll buy them protection, that it's not going to. You know, Lowry put together that consortium of magazines that all had a joint editorial in 2016 saying, don't vote for Donald Trump. It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. Well, I mean, that's probably why they were going to have him on, but it just goes to show you the left doesn't care. They'll smear anybody.
Of course.
They go after people, like, they were all holding up Megyn Kelly after, like, the thing in the debate where Trump said bad stuff about her or whatever, but now she's persona non grata, and now we're having to pretend that she and Rich Lowry are some kind of right-wing extremists because, like, they're claiming Rich Lowry said this word that, by the way, rappers use 100 times a day,
right?
And nobody gets upset, but it's not like they even used it.
No.
It's not even true. Like, it's just silly. Tommy in the chat says, I heard it live and did a double take.
So did I.
Because, yeah, he does mess up and say it, but it's so clearly, like, not what that is in the context of that.
Well, right. Yeah, because it's not something Rich Lowry says. But he certainly mangled the word he meant to say. But, yeah, it's just absolutely total ridiculousness. It's not. And the thing is, too, is that.
And to pretend that he's, like, now beyond the pale, we can't have him come and speak about free markets because it's just beyond the pale. He's a person who uses words like that about people of color. Like, what?
A person who didn't say so. Right. That's the thing. The thing is that the left knows nothing about the right. They know nothing about
no.
Because they would know that that's like if Rich Lowry decided to say something explosively racist, it would be an intellectual thought.
Right.
That it wouldn't be street language that he's suddenly borrowing from prison yards. Like, that's not his style. Like,
but they don't know anything about any right-wing people, like you say. So it fits with their perception of what a evil right-wing person is like.
Everything is so confused and distorted now. Like, I was listening to Jonah Goldberg, who I still like listening to. I'm now in my mind now. I'm going to keep listening, but I am hedging my bets.
He's starting to lose it.
He's starting to lose it, and he held on for a long time. But he is angry at Rich Lowry for sitting with Megyn Kelly because she interviews people like Charlie Kirk. So he's angry at Lowry because he hangs with Megyn Kelly, who hangs with Charlie Kirk. He's not allowed to be like... Mm-hmm. Like, Jonah, you guys, do some introspection. Kevin Williamson, guys, for a moment, just try to figure it out. And I'm talking about the people holding torches and the people who are even in the boat rallies with the MAGA hats, or the people in January 6th. But go get a group of other people and just chat with them.
Yeah,
it's like amazing. These guys, they hate. They like the joy they get from hating, like their prime, like guys like Jonah now, his prime target are people like you and I, and our listeners right now, people who not necessarily preferred Trump to be the nominee, would have loved DeSantis, but have found reasons to support Trump, despite Trump, and they totally dismiss it as if it doesn't exist anymore. And I don't know. Like, and they denigrate this too for a bit. It's like the days of Mitt Romney are over. Okay?
Right.
The days of like wonky, decent guys are.
I mean, honestly, JD Vance is probably more like that,
and they hate him more than anybody.
I know. They think he's like the worst. I want to talk about the car seat thing for sure, but let's have you followed any of that story?
Car seat? No. Vance?
Yeah, what?
No, is it a Vance thing?
Yeah, it's a JD Vance thing. It's a new smear on JD Vance about infant car seats. But anyway,
hey, before we do
he hates car seats and he wants children to die, obviously, is what it's about.
But before we do that, can I get to my promo?
Yes.
We did an All You Can Eat podcast a couple of days ago. And here's a little piece of it. And maybe you didn't know this about Alice Shattuck.
Did I ever tell you did I ever talk about on this show or tell you separately about my cowboy dinners?
No, but I get the feeling these were a dinner for one. Oh.
So I was very into cowboys as a kid.
I
had you've seen my little like leather cowboy vest.
Yes, as in you wanted to be one.
Yes.
Right.
We played cowboys and Indians. We had a teepee. I had a cowboy vest. I had a
Alice,
kaftan.
Stop. Who's we?
I had siblings.
No. You played cowboys.
I would
The
play on
animals-
my little cassette tape, my little tape
The
of my
animals in the
cowboy
area
song.
reluctantly played Indians.
My little cassette tape. I'd play my little cowboy songs, like, I've got spurs that jingle jingle.
Oh my God.
Like, there were like little Johnny Cash songs on there, and cowboy songs, right? And I was
Yep.
very into this, and I was into stories of like the American West and cowboys, and
Burning Ring of Fire. Oh, Beanie Weenie.
yeah. So you could have beanies, weenies. I mean, perfect cowboy meal. So I'm glad to hear that it has.
Wait, you skipped the
I
part.
did. Oh, you want me to hit the part?
Well, you skipped the cowboy dinner part. It's a food
Fire.
podcast. I was
Oh, yeah.
talking about
No,
my
not
biscuits
really
and
burn-
beans.
Ring of Fire. That's like that's like a pop song
Sings,
for
what are some
Johnny
of the other
Cash.
songs? I've got
Riders in the Sky. Like
Riders in the Sky.
Isn't that one?
Riders on the Storm. That.
No. Whatever. Anyway.
What's the one with the dead person?
Oh, the Streets of Laredo. Yeah,
Yes.
that's top 10. I mean,
Can you sing that, please?
No.
Sing that, Alice.
No.
Why? You've had your coffee.
No. But then I would have my cowboy music and my cowboy outfit and my cap gun and everything, and I would have cowboy dinners, which was usually like biscuits and beans. So I would have because that's what cowboys eat. So
Oh, Beanie Weenie.
yeah, so you could have beanies, weenies. I mean, perfect cowboy meal. So I'm glad to hear that it has this illustrious American heritage, aren't you?
There we go. So there's more like that. The episode was kind of a whole heck lot of fun. So please do follow and listen to it if you have not. If you do, thank you so much. But if you have not, please do, because we really have a lot of good time doing it. And the listenership's not very big. It's just a few hundred listeners, or is that Twitter people? I don't even know who is it. How many people listen? Do you know?
Like 200-ish.
Yeah. So we're trying. I mean, we appreciate all 200, and there was a time when that was a huge number for us. But I wanted to get more love because it's really a fun show, and we're gonna try to take your ideas too, because I mean we can always have more guests and this and that. Since we have such little time.
I think the food show is really good though, and I think you guys should listen to it.
Yeah.
I think some of you dismiss it as being like just about food, but it's a pretty fun show. So
Alice. So do you want to do? We're 35 minutes in here. So do you want to do the chat?
yeah, let's hop to the chat, I guess.
Hop.
Yeah, and then we'll talk about JD Vance and the car seats and how he wants all the children to die shortly thereafter.
Very nice. Very nice.
Because Republicans
So,
hate children.
who is Ned Stark? I've heard the name, but is he like in the Minahan orbit?
He is.
I don't know. It's been like a couple of years since I last listened to that podcast. Last time I listened to it was Cullinane, producer.
He's back.
So I'm open to constructive criticism.
There you go.
I just don't know who the guy is. Was he the sticker guy?
No.
Did he have
No, that was
a toy store? Or is he the guy with the hair? I don't know who he is.
I think you mean
But I'm open to constructive criticism.
anything
to
secondhand stores.
make my chats better.
Kevin and Bristol. The sticker guy who is the guy? Steve Kerrigan, not Steve Kerrigan. Ned Kerrigan, Hedigan. There's a place up in Amesbury that's got his name. Remember the Irish name, the kid who sold the stickers? No, that was year one. Doesn't matter.
I don't know this.
No, he is a very handsome and funny guy, Ned Snark, and he is a Minifan. That is correct.
We like Ned Stark.
And here I was, Alice. I was going to totally mock you for your autumnal enjoyment with your warm sweaters and your scented candles and pumpkin everything. And oh man, and then to come to find out that you used to dress up as a cowboy.
There you go.
And listen to cowboy music. And you wanted to be a cowboy. Like a 1950s youngster. Man, you were just trapped in the wrong era.
Correct.
I don't know what happened.
Correct.
But I really didn't have anything because politically we're all the same. I just wanted to just say that about, man, you really took the cowboy thing to a whole new level.
You actually do have a lot of Katie Lang in you, Alice.
Who's Katie Lang?
Nobody.
Out in the West Texas town of El Paso,
Alice?
I fell in love with a Mexican girl.
Alice? Take it from there. Do you know it?
No.
You don't know it?
Mm-mm.
You don't know?
No.
I think that's a famous song.
It probably is. It doesn't happen to be on my repertoire.
Hello, everyone.
Hey.
Welcome to the 2310 Project
Hey, Tommy.
podcast.
Ooh.
I was inspired to start this podcast by my good friend, Mr. Tom Shattuck.
Oh.
Why did I decide to call it the 2310 Project? That is exactly how long it took Tom to land the airplane on Thursday's 2:15 p.m. Burn Barrel.
What did I do? No.
I do still recommend you watch the episode because Donna did look fantastic.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Very good. You did look good. The Donna that Tommy made? Oh, no, or both look good. Is that what it took to get to Donna? I was pithy. This is incorrect. Train your fire on Alice Shattuck, please.
Hey guys,
Hey.
just wanted to thank you for continuing to beat the drum for Trump.
Thank you.
But I think that you probably need to get used to the phrase President Harris. And the only people we have to blame for that is ourselves. I mean, we provided Harris with the perfect foil in Trump. We provided Harris with the perfect fool in Trump, I would go so far as to say. Today I listened to you, Jerry, and Megyn Kelly all play clips of Harris and her stupidity. But it just doesn't matter. The voters know that she isn't Trump, and that's all that matters to them. It's also all that matters to her, that she's not Trump, and that's why she continues to beat that drum. I appreciate your efforts, but I really do believe they're all for naught, because this lady just has a large part of the electorate buffaloed. So, repeat after me, President Harris. Thanks for all you do. Keep
Thank
up
you.
the good work.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I think that she's got a lot of people buffaloed, like you say, but a lot of those people are in New York and California, and so I don't think it's going to matter. I think this is a neck and neck thing right now. I think that she is starting to take hits from her own media. The New York Times just blasted her. Every interview she does is a total mess. Now, Trump steps in a lot of stuff too, but there are different expectations, and the left tells us to have different expectations. You know, that she is somebody who is knowledge deep because of her days as a prosecutor, etc. But she is clueless. I have never heard, and this includes from people on the left, I've never heard so many different people who don't use kind of like coarse language, call her stupid. That she knows nothing, not a thing. She's absolutely dumb. Stupid. Now, and I still think somebody stupid can win as president, but there are too many existing maladies right now, including the border trouble that happened.
Well,
over
and
the
maybe in
years.
the Patreon show, can we play the Trump clip talking about her? Because he's gotten criticism from the
Yes.
left about calling her mentally disabled.
Yeah. Well, that's
So-
it's part of a great line, though. It's actually
Let's get to it
Okay.
in the Patreon part of the show for sure.
So a couple months ago, Tom
Hey,
asked
Steve.
me to come back to the Chat
Yes.
to revitalize a chat that was essentially on life support. And over the past couple months,
I don't know if the other chat callers are gonna love that, Steve.
This is, I believe, a reprisal.
I feel like I did the job that you wanted me to do.
Correct.
And it really, to me, reached the pinnacle over the past few weeks with people leaving nasty messages about me. That's where I feel like the job was done properly for you, Tom. So I'm going to walk away
What?
knowing that I'm probably one of the best chatters that you've ever had.
Correct.
And I would definitely be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Wow.
Unfortunately, Tom, here's what you're going to get going forward. You're going to get that arrogant nitwit, Steve from Merrimack, who's going
Ooh.
to continuously leave his stupid jokes
Ooh.
that you and Alice only laugh at so that you don't bruise his ego. You're going to get Justin, who's going to leave messages that 99.99% of the audience have no idea what he's talking about. You're going to get Sweet Leslie with her cute voice, who's never going to be able to land the plane on a story.
Oh.
She's going to leave 3 or 4 minute messages that could have otherwise been summed up in 45 seconds by somebody else. Or you're going to have Dr. Cheswick, who's so smart yet so monotone that you can't drive while he's talking or you may get into an accident. This is what's going to happen with the Chat Chat going forward, and I'm okay with it because, Tom, I know I did the job for you. And by the way, Tom and Alice, thank you for everything, but I will leave you with one more piece of advice.
Yes.
Tom, you remember Happy Days. You remember the whole thing around jumping the shark.
Yes.
Please don't jump the shark with Donna. It's nice, it's funny,
Donna,
but it's already being overused.
Is it Haggard?
Less is better when it comes with Donna. Remember that. Otherwise, everybody else, with the exception of Steve from Merrimack, I hope you guys stay well, be good to the ones you love. MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. Let's make America great again in November. Let's hope for a Trump victory. Take care.
Oh, my goodness. That was, what a salvo. I don't even know what to say.
It's like the Godfather christening scene.
It was.
He's just taking everybody
out. A lot of
out.
casualties in that one. I will agree with Steve from Merrimack. He rightfully should be assailed. But Donna, Steve, that is, Donna means a lot to me. Just to have Alice around doing that means a lot to me. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I didn't know that we'd get to such violence, and I hate to lose Steve as well, Alice. My goodness.
Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Let's head over to the Patreon side. If you're watching on Patreon, just stay there. We'll move over there. We'll talk about J.D. Vance in the car seats. We'll talk about Trump calling Kamala stupid. The chat is not pleased about Steve Gloucester, but yeah, we can cover that more over there also. Thank you all so much for listening and leaving messages and everything. Patreon.com/burnbarrel.